Recording this on a Saturday night after the Sacramento Kings road trip continued on this night in Chicago on the second night of a back-to-back against a Bulls team that had been resting since Wednesday. Ooh. How are the Kings going to respond? Well, they got off to a quick start. In fact, they dropped 71 points in the first half. They expanded the lead to 30 in the third quarter. So an easy win for the Kings, right? You guys are funny. Of course not.
Roller coaster.
The Kings started missing tons of shots. They started throwing the ball all over the floor, and the Bulls chipped away. They got confident. They cut it to 3, but the Kings were able to hang on down the stretch, thanks in large part to De'Aaron Fox, who had a big night, 41 points on Baby Rain's birthday, who sat courtside, and the Sacramento Kings escape with a win at the United Center, 123-115. All of a sudden, there's 6 games in this road trip, and they are 5-1 on this trip. It should be noted, this is the most wins they've ever had on a 7-game road trip in franchise history, and they are a season best 10 games above 500. They did not reach that mark until late February of last year. Each and every one of our podcasts presented by our friends are at Northwest Exteriors. Check out trustnorthwest.com. I'm Deuce Mason. That's Morgan Reagan. How you doing?
Oh, how you doing, Mo? That's what I was waiting for. I am great. I'm great. I'm great. Feeling good. You guys, I said this. I don't know if I said this last night because it was Friday night. I love weekend hoops. There's just something about it. And again, days don't matter in the NBA. A Monday, a Friday, it's like they're all the same. You don't get weekends off when you're doing NBA stuff. Yeah. But there's just a different type of vibe that I always feel on a Friday or Saturday night game. And I know it's not even like this was at home at Golden One Center, but I love that we get to talk about a win on a Saturday night.
But how are you feeling about the win after what I just detailed in the summary? They were up 30 points in the third quarter. It looked like it was going to be on cruise control. They come out of the second half and hit 3 straight threes. Herder, Fox, and Monk, I believe. Ooh. And all of a sudden, they're up 82-52. And then it went down to 3.
Yeah.
Where were your emotions at throughout the night?
I wasn't okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely wasn't okay. Let's start from the emotion of where I was. Wasn't okay, was thinking bad things, to got the win, out of breath, doing the postgame show, just some epiphanies, drove back to Sacramento. Now I'm here with a glass of wine on a Saturday night, and I'm like, oh, the Kings got the W, and I feel great. Now, not to say that there's not a lot of things to break down in this one. Again, that's the most interesting thing that this Kings team keeps doing in these wins. They don't allow us to talk about the good at the end of the game. We're always having to be like, well, this was all good, but man, all the stuff that breaks down at the end, it's like you feel that at the end. But my point is, what happened in the beginning of this game and creating a 30-point lead and really good basketball and really good things happening allowed them to have the amount of screw-ups that they got to have to still somehow finish out this game the right way.
They led 71-52 at the half. They were doing some incredible things. The ball movement was great. I thought the biggest thing tonight is they came out and pushed. De'Aaron got off to an amazing start in this game.
Pace.
And I just love the pace. And then defensively, I felt like they were flying everywhere in that first half. I mean, the rotations were perfect. The on-ball defense was good. If they got beat, their man was there to help, and the help helped the helper, and the helper helped the help. It was perfect by the Sacramento Kings.
Deuce, and let's just even start there with the good, and especially in that first half, and how beautiful the defense was looking. You and I were talking about it while watching it in the studio going, man, Mike Brown is going to he's going to be so proud of this defense. He's going to be so happy with what he's getting out these guys. Now, I get it. It's not easy to do all 4 quarters at the half. Deuce's key to the second half was give me 48 minutes. Can you continue this consistent, great basketball for 48 minutes?
And you know what the Kings said?
They said,
no. No, we can't.
No. Why would we do that? Let's make you sweat a little bit. But truly, when you look back at that defense and you talk about the way it was rotating, it wasn't just like the Bulls were screwing up. It was the Kings defense that was doing such a great job of screwing up what the Bulls wanted to achieve, what they wanted to accomplish. And then on top of that, what it led to was the Kings even playing better within their offense. And when I say that, it's because they were able to push the pace, have they didn't have to set up in the half court as much. They just went down into the paint in transition. Beautiful vision, beautiful passes.
When this team comes out pushing the pace like that, and in addition to that, they're flying around defensively, getting stops and getting out, it's nasty. And then the shot making was outstanding in that first half too. So it was just an amazing combination where I thought Fox set the tone with the starters, and then you went to the bench, and Malik and Trey Lyles were just money coming in, knocking down shot after shot. And so Malik Monk all of a sudden with back-to-back really strong games after a rough January for him. And I don't think it's a mistake that, look, when Malik plays well, the Kings are a pretty dangerous team. And why were they up and down in January? Well, one of the reasons, he was up and down in January, and so was De'Aaron Fox. Now, all of a sudden, I've said all of a sudden 4 times.
I love it.
But anyway, I've been doing a lot of talking the last couple of days, okay? A couple of turnovers. I just noticed one of my crutches. I acknowledge it. We move on.
Was that a crutch that you're...
I did a crutch. I have a crutch on. Yeah.
Okay. A crutch on?
Yeah.
Or using a crutch?
A crutch on.
Okay.
Yeah, a crutch
Got
on.
it.
Anyway, so De'Aaron has 41 points in the game, which was great. And then Malik tonight finishes with 22 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. He played just under 34 minutes, 7 of 14 shooting, 6 of 7 at the free throw line. It was 2 of 4 from downtown. But yes, that's what's so frustrating about this team, because you saw almost like a perfect first half from them, right? The pace, shooting, offense, defense, the perfect combination. And then the second half, they went, we're done. We're done with that. We're going to go ahead and not play with pace. We're going to do a lot of ISO ball. We're going to play into the Bulls' hand a little bit. And, we're going to start turning the ball over.
Well, and it's so strange, too, because they came out in the second half killing it.
Yeah.
Looking good, knocking down their shots, just went on a big run.
They started the third on a 9-0 run.
Confidence was looking high. And I don't know why it is at times that they do this thing where they slow it down or they go back in ISO. Just because they slow it down doesn't mean that the clock is going to run out faster. You got to make sure that you are still running just as fast as you know, what got you there, the pace that got you there to give you that lead, to help you get that lead. You got to continue that. And I think sometimes it's a complete mind F, right? Like it just screws with them when they have that lead. And that doesn't just happen to the Kings. That happens to a lot of people in different sports as well. But you can see with the Kings why this experience every time of having leads, and now instead of losing the game, finding a way to finish out the game, close it out, and get the W is so very important. In that experience, it's getting better and better, whether you believe it or not, losing a 30-point lead or whatever. But I feel like that is so much more common in the NBA. If you watch a lot of NBA basketball, you're seeing that against so many different teams. You are,
sure.
Deuce.
30 is a little different of a story, in my opinion. I don't know what that means in 2024. Is 30 the new 25, and 25 is the new 20, and 20-point lead is new 15? I don't know. I know I had that theory for a minute where it's like just subtract 5, right? Because 20-point leads nowadays, it's a joke. I mean, couple of missed shots, turnovers, and all of a sudden it's down to 12. You know, it evaporates fast.
Yep.
But it's still a big lead, and like that's kind of the next progress I want to see from this team is like
that.
Hey, you're up 30. Any team that has pride, any team that has a competitive fire is going to try to chip away a little bit. You're going to make mistakes.
Yes.
That's fine. But your mistake can't go from 30 to 3. It can go 30 to like 18.
That's where
but then
you
you
want
need
it
to come
to
out.
go.
you need to come back and get it to 25, and then we chill in the fourth
Even
quarter.
if it goes 30-10, but then you find that way to really be like, no, you are in control when it's 10-15, whatever. I know these numbers sound kind of funny of like what our standards are and what we want, but truly you've seen what in control with a 10-point lead is compared to seen teams not in control with a 20-point lead. So yes, for the Sacramento Kings, the next step is to really learn from these different experiences with having these leads and going, okay, this is what we need to do. Oh, and this is what we need to do to close out games the right way.
Yeah, it's crazy looking at the final numbers. The Kings, I thought, did a great job getting in the paint, scoring in the paint on the Bulls in the first half. The Bulls allow the fewest points in the paint in the league. And at halftime, I think the Kings had 34 points in the paint. I'm like, dude, they only allow 44.
Yeah.
Well, the Kings only scored 16 points in the paint in the second half, so life became a little more challenging, and I thought the Kings' defense got beat a lot. Now, part of it, too, is like you go, hey, give the Bulls credit. They kept fighting, but I thought the Kings' offense let them down a lot, too. When you start turning the ball over, you're screwed. You put yourself in a really tough position as a defense, and all of a sudden, they've got confidence. Can you keep track of all of a suddens now? I'm up to like 6.
Did you just say all
yeah,
of a
I
sudden
did.
again?
I did.
Yeah, hold on.
Thank you.
Oh,
Please. Just, yeah.
I'll do 6 tally marks.
My God.
How about if you reach 9, I get to slap you? Oh.
How about if I reach one more, you can give me a little slap?
Yes!
But anyway,
so all of a sudden,
you just give a team a little more confidence. The crowd starts getting into it. They wake up. It's a fragile thing because the Bulls were on the brink, right? Like you're down 30 in the third, couple more buckets, you might fold up shop. Mentally, we're just going, all right, there's 5 minutes left. We're down 35. But when you can look at the end of the third, and the Bulls could look at the end of the third quarter and go, we just went on a 27-9 run. It's a 10-point game. 10-point game? You're in it with 12 minutes to go. So the Kings obviously have some things to clean up. But like you said, Morgan, you can't ignore the fact that they were able to build a 30-point lead by playing the right way. So how do you manufacture kind of that for a longer period of time, I guess is the question.
And I think that's what's so interesting about anybody going on and having an instant reaction after a game like this. Because for us, going into the post game, it was, I'm taking a deep breath going into a conversation that we are going to talk to, where we're going to interview De'Aaron Fox courtside after he has a big 41-point game. But I'm feeling all these different motions of good basketball to bad basketball. But hey, you got the W.
Yeah, De'Aaron had 41 points. 14 of those came in the fourth quarter. We did talk to him post-game, and if you didn't hear that conversation, here's how it went down.
And my goodness, De'Aaron. Okay, that was a lot of good basketball happening on early in this one, and then we saw what happened there in the second half. How did you guys end up pulling this one out?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we even coming out of halftime when we started it on a 9-0 run, we went up 28, and then we kind of fell apart from right there. I mean, we have to be better in that instant. Obviously, when you go up like that, a team becomes desperate. They play harder, and I mean, this team gets a lot of deflections. When someone like Caruso is around the ball, you have to know where he is, and they made a run, but we were able to finish this game out just being able to get stops and making our free throws today.
Well, yeah, it was a roller coaster ride. You guys about killed me in here, De'Aaron. 41 points for you tonight, though. It feels like even defensively, you're just super locked in right now. I believe that's 11 steals the last 2 games. What's working well for you right now?
I mean, just trying to stay locked in as long as possible. Obviously, we always talk about what we're doing on the defensive end, and there are stretches where we look like an elite defensive team, and there are stretches where we look like a bottom 5 defensive team. So
yes.
For me, it's just try to stay locked in for as long as possible. Obviously, it's a 48-minute game. However long you're out there, try to stay locked in. And for me, obviously, I talked about it before, especially when I'm struggling offensively, just try to find different ways to affect the game. And if I'm able to get deflections, get steals, get my team more opportunities, that's what I do.
Rain sitting courtside on his birthday, dad scoring 41 points. Did you feel some extra motivation there?
Definitely. Just being on the road, being able to see my family here. The tickets were free for us. I did not pay for them. We know that we know the person who owns the seat, so we didn't pay for them.
Wow.
But it was definitely a great gift for Range for sure.
All right, De'Aaron. Well, excited for you, excited for the family. Go enjoy the win and finish off this road trip strong.
And stop trying to kill us Kings fans, man.
Man, hey. JaVale be on us, man. We definitely have to be better. We definitely have to be better.
You got
Appreciate you,
this.
De'Aaron.
Thanks, De'Aaron.
All right, thank y'all.
There's our chat with De'Aaron Fox after the game. What?
Just you.
Oh, my approach with
I
this,
love De'Aaron.
if anyone cares about this, but I'm like, you know what? You just have to. You don't have to do your typical interview after the game, where it's like, so tell us about blah blah blah. Super serious. I look up to what they do on Inside the NBA, and I see how loose they are. It's like, just be yourself. I'm feeling that way. You guys almost lost the lead. We're gonna tap into that a little bit.
It's
my
also-
one regret. I forgot to ask him about the All-Star game. And part of it is I think I already moved on from it, but I should have been like, hey, you really don't care? Or something like
But
that.
it wasn't.
That's my bad.
But guess what? We were in the moment of what just happened.
Yes,
it's
true.
not even like we got a beat and go, oh my gosh, let's make sure we ask about that as well. But also, you talk about wanting to just approach it very genuine and yourself. It's easy to when someone like De'Aaron knows you and knows your intentions too. When you're like, oh my God, you guys are killing me in here. You're not like weird sports guy
I'm
going
not
like,
mad. Yeah.
exactly. So no, it is. And it's so cool that he was able to, feel that way. A few things from that interview too. I love that it's a very humble thing being like, we did not pay for those courtside tickets, just making sure everyone knew. And it's like, wouldn't care either way. You guys
Honestly,
are loaded.
I just figured like, hey, you make millions of dollars. You probably have a way to get it.
That's one. But two, the JaVale McGee thing at the end that he had to say about JaVale getting on us about just when we are struggling and going through these moments and we just got to make sure we are finishing off games the right way. We've talked about that before. JaVale McGee may come on the floor and make some really bad mistakes
Like
that
he did tonight?
Like
Yeah.
he did tonight, and not add enough when he's on the floor. But something you hear behind the scenes all the time with JaVale is, his veteran leadership, his championship resume and gold medal, Team USA, all these different things that you think about that are very important to a team like the Sacramento Kings.
Well, you mentioned that, and this is from a couple of games ago. I believe it was after the Memphis game when they got the win. And man, maybe it was. You know what? I don't know exactly what game it was. It was a recent game where they should have stomped, on the opponent late. And it kind of goes with tonight's game. Here's what JaVale McGee told G-Man after the game.
Good teams respond by getting the win. Great teams respond by blowing teams that don't have their stars out immediately and resting the stars. And then that fourth quarter is the third string guys going out there. But we still got a lot to go until we become a great team. But we are playing great basketball as of now. I believe on this road trip we're 3-0.
Yep.
We got 4 in a row as of now also. So as long as we stay focused, keep stacking these wins, we will become a great team.
So that was JaVale McGee after they beat Memphis. So that was right. His point is like, no, good teams find a way to win.
Yeah.
We found a way to win tonight when that team was down 11. Great teams
Get it done.
and let the other guys play.
Yep.
And this is another example of that tonight. Not so much that the Bulls were super shorthanded. Of course, Levine's been out. That's another thing. He's out 4 to 6 months after needing surgery here. But you're up 30. You need to find a way to get it done. But I thought that was interesting that Fox brought that up. JaVale's been getting on them a bit about that.
Yeah.
The other thing that we should talk about with De'Aaron Fox, we can talk about his 41 points for sure. We will get to that. I just think defensively this year is the growth we have seen from him has been outstanding. He's near the top of the NBA in both steals and deflections. Last night, he had 11 deflections. I try to put that in context for people. SGA is number one in the league coming into tonight in deflections at 3.6 per game. De'Aaron had 11 in a game. He is coming into tonight tied for second in deflections in the league with Alex Caruso.
Ooh.
Last night, he had a career-high 6 steals. He followed it up tonight with 5. In the last 2 games, do the math, 11 steals for De'Aaron Fox. Steals is not always a great indicator of some great defense, but he is putting tremendous on-ball pressure. He's playing the gaps well. I love how physical he plays defensively. If he has to defend a bigger guy, he's ready for the challenge. De'Aaron has been fantastic defensively. He's taken a jump this year. What's jumped out to you about the steps he has taken defensively?
His timing and understanding of who he's guarding. If he wants to poke the ball away, if he wants to make sure he's using his chest and bodying up somebody, if it's a different sized guy, depending on what position they're playing, whatever it is. Understanding too that he can use his wingspan to his advantage because he's also super quick with his hands and he's super quick with his feet. But you think about the way that he can use his arms and time out where he needs to be in a passing lane to get a steal from far away, or just getting his hands up, taking away the vision of a point guard, but making them think twice when they put the ball on the floor because he's so handsy, so active. You're seeing him get up and guys on a whole different level. And it's so under control. And when he's pissed off, oh my God, do I love the way that he gets up and guys. And when he's feeling it after making a deep 3, oh my God, do I love the way that he gets up and guys. It has been so fun watching the way that he plays defense, but I think his defense has also encouraged others to take a leap on that end of the floor.
And the Kings still have a ways to go defensively as a team. We saw the best version of the Kings in the first half and maybe the worst version in the second half of that game. I was looking today before the game. I'm like, hey, what's defensive rating, right? They came into tonight around 17, I believe. Last year they were 24. Offenses have gotten way better this year too. But last year there was a dramatic split on their defense at home versus their defense on the road. Coming into tonight.
Yeah.
Let's go back to last year. Last year at home, they were 29th out of 30th in defensive rating. At home.
Jeez.
On the road, 8th.
Okay.
So 29th at home, 8th on the road. This year, 26th in defensive rating at home. On the road, 8th again. It's weird. It's weird. And I remember I asked Monty McNair, the Kings GM, at Media Day. I was asking him about that discrepancy.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Like, you showed flashes. And he kind of brushed it aside as he didn't really put much stock into
He
it.
said, don't act like you know analytics.
I know. I know. Well, guess what?
Guess what, Monty?
Guess what, nerd? I'll give you some numbers. They're doing it again this year. It's interesting. This is not just a one-season thing. It looks like they play better defense at times on the road. How do you explain it? I've tried to get people to explain it to me. I don't think there is really a legit explanation besides theories of, okay, maybe this team, because they're on the road, they don't have the home crowd behind them. They don't have the same juice. They have to kind of manufacture their own energy, and a way to do that is to play defense, get out on the go, and shut up a crowd. I don't know, but it is kind of a dramatic difference we're seeing 2 years in a row, and that's consistent. 8th on the road in defense and in the bottom half, near last in the NBA at home.
Yeah, no one has the answer or the explanation behind it, and that's okay too. I feel like that sometimes when you get a lot of data and analytics and numbers thrown at you, it's like, what does that mean? And just because you can't put your finger on it doesn't mean that there isn't something else to it. Now, there could be nothing else to it, but I think with this, now that you're seeing it happen back-to-back years, it is pretty interesting. So, yeah, for the Sacramento Kings, the way that they lock in, play defense together, and it really does start with someone like De'Aaron Fox getting up and guys like the way he has been.
I feel like they do have better defensive moments this year than they did last year, though. Do you agree with that?
Yes, but I also feel like they've had worse defensive moments and lapses than they've had. Like last year, it felt more like it would be something of a miscommunication or just not understanding the geometry of the floor and being in the right spot. Where this year, even if it is those things, it feels more like a mental lapse where they're not engaged and they're not thinking about it. Where last year it was, they wanted to be there. They understood they need to be there, but they were learning to get there. This year, it feels like Sometimes it's like I'm just out there. What am I doing?
There's just too many of those lapses.
Yep.
Yeah.
My description.
Let's talk about De'Aaron's offense tonight. 41 points for him. He did on 13 of 24 shooting. He was 5 of 11 from downtown in this game. 10 of 12 at the free throw line. I want to pull up his shot chart in this game too, just to kind of see what the balance was. So De'Aaron tonight, if you pull up his shot chart like I just did, it's on the screen. He was 7 of 11 in the paint. 14 of his points came in the paint. 8 of 13 from 2-point range. 5 of 11 from beyond the arc. He was 10 of 12 at the line to give him those 41 points. Pretty good balance from De'Aaron. Getting to the rim, getting the mid-range, and then knocking down some threes.
I love it. I thought, what did he end up finishing from 3? He ended up finishing
5 of 11. I've said it 3 times in the last 2 minutes.
Well, say it one more time and I'll slap you. Just kidding. 5 of 11. And I know for some there's still moments where you're like, why did he take that one or whatever? Tonight it felt very much in rhythm, in the flow of the game. It felt with a lot of confidence. Even he knocked one down, I believe, on Caruso toward the end of the game, and then came down, tried hitting another one where I didn't love the idea of him taking the shot, but he was feeling the momentum of the last shot. And sometimes you just got to try it. You got to do what feels good, do what feels right. And then once you try it out and it doesn't work, go back to what always works. And what always works for De'Aaron Fox is him attacking. And him attacking tonight, especially toward the end of the game when the team needed him most, it was just absolutely beautiful, especially in the mid-range or floater or in the paint. It was just in that area.
I was quickly looking at the schedule to look at the last 10 games because I feel like in the last 10 games, we feel like the Kings are playing better basketball. Of course, they're 5-1 on this road trip, but if you go back to 10 games, that includes the Milwaukee overtime loss, the Suns loss, the loss at home to the Pacers,
That was bad.
then the win over the Hawks, Warriors, Dallas, Memphis, lost to Miami. Wow. So all of a sudden they have won 6 of their last 7. Anyway, I want to go back and look at their stats, defensive rating, offensive rating in the last 10 games because we feel like it looks better, right? So where does it kind of stack up in this 10-game span where they're playing better basketball? In the last 10 games, Morgan, the Kings are 9th in offensive rating at 118.8. For context, that's where they were about last season, 118-ish. That was the best offensive rating in NBA history last year. The difference is this year, all these other teams are crazy offensively.
Taking a mad leap, yes.
So they are 9th in that stretch. Defensive rating during that stretch, 15th.
Okay. Oh, so middle of the pack defensively.
And 9th offensively in the last 10 games.
I'll
And their
take it.
record during that span, 6-4. And many would argue it should be 8-2. If you just close out Milwaukee and Phoenix.
Yeah.
Insane.
No, it really,
Insane.
and especially, and the reason why I think when we talk about Milwaukee and Phoenix, because I know some people are like, well, can't you say that about any game? It's the way that they played almost those entire freaking games. And yes, the way that they couldn't close them out just showed experience, star players versus a team that is still trying to figure it out when they face adversity. So it feels like they're starting to figure it out, though, when they even face adversity and things go bad against some of these teams that they should be beating. If they're doing what they need to do, celebrate it. Be excited. Even if it's not the prettiest thing in the world, there's still a lot of pretty things to celebrate.